Once upon a time, there was a king, and the king's name was Prospero. But actually, he didn't really do much kingly stuff. He preferred to study magic, 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 with his staff and his book of magic, magic, magic. But after a while, Prospero's brother, Antonio, said, "Hang on, I'm doing all the kingly work here. You should go." And with that, his brother Antonio took the crown from Prospero's head and put it on himself. Not only that, he put Prospero on a ship and he sent Prospero off on the water. Bye! Prospero couldn't believe it, but at least he had his book and his staff. Well, he started off on the sea with using his staff as an oar. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is not a dream. Arr! He looked around, there was nothing, until eventually an island came in sight. He rowed quickly up to the island. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. He landed on the island. And from that moment, he knew it was magic. There were sounds in the air. And then spirits emerged. The first spirit Prospero saw was a fairy called Ariel. Ariel was amazing. Ariel could fly, could swim, could dive into fire or water, could even make himself 1,000 different pieces everywhere at once, darting all over the place. Ariel was incredible. The first thing Prospero did was say, "Ariel, you will be my servant." The second spirit on the island was the son of a witch. He was disgusting. His name was Caliban, and he was foul to look at, and he lived in the slime and the mud. Well, Prospero lived on this magic island for 12 years. 12 years commanding his servant spirit Ariel and Caliban, fetching logs, fishing, doing his washing up, all sorts of things, while he studied his magic, magic, magic. It was quite a peaceful life, although he could never forget what his brother had done. But one day, he was looking out to sea. And what did he see? On the horizon, a ship. And he knew it was his brother Antonio's ship. Ha! Prospero had an idea. Bing! He immediately called for Ariel. "Ariel, come here. Go and raise a storm. A terrible, terrible storm. And make sure that ship comes to this island." And so Ariel raised the storm. He went to find the ship, and he started gently at first, but then gradually the ship floundered and reached the island almost a wreck. Oh, Antonio! He was gasping for breath from the shipwreck. He crawled across the beach. The ship was down. He was the only survivor. He looked around the island. It was strange, and he was alone. And now Prospero began his great revenge. 3 tricks. Trick number 1. Antonio walked around the island, looking at the strange flowers, the strange plants. He bent down towards some green reeds, very closely, because he could hear a kind of rustling. And suddenly, boom! Oh! What was that horrific, ugly monster? Oh! It was Caliban, of course. Antonio was so frightened. He ran and he ran and he ran and he ran and he ran. Oh, it was disgusting to look at. Well, after that shock, he needed a sleep. He found a little corner next to a forest and he fell asleep. Trick number 2. Antonio woke up and the first thing he thought was, I'm so cold. Well, along came Ariel, but Ariel was invisible. And Ariel magicked in front of him a big, lovely, warm cloak. And Antonio thought, oh, what a gorgeous warm cloak. He reached towards it. Ping! It disappeared. But then Ariel, invisible, suddenly magicked some most beautiful cloth. And it hung there, shivering in the breeze. And Antonio thought, oh, what beautiful dresses. I could bring some back as a present for my wife. And he reached out towards it. But then it disappeared. Trick number 3. Antonio was not only so cold, he was really, really hungry. Unbeknown to him, Ariel was wandering around, invisible, and Ariel worked his magic. Suddenly, in front of Antonio were some most delicious cakes. All sorts. Chocolate cake, lemon cake, strawberry cake. Lots of incredible icing. So gorgeous. He couldn't believe it. He reached out his hand and disappeared. Prospero had been watching everything this entire time, and he decided that now the tricks should stop because Antonio had suffered enough. And so he revealed himself to Antonio. Antonio cried, Brother Prospero, I'm so glad to see you. I've had such a terrible time on this island, and I'm so sorry for the things I've done. Prospero said, don't worry, of course I forgive you. But in return, you must take me back on your ship to Italy, and you must give me back my crown. Antonio said, of course, of course, of course. And he took the crown off his head and he placed it on the head of Prospero. Prospero would be king again. They got the ship ready to sail off on the waters. But there were a few things left to do. Prospero and Antonio prepared to step on board. But just before they left, Prospero said to Antonio, Brother, now that I will be king again, I no longer need magic. And with that, he got his staff and he broke it in 2. And then his magic book that he used to study magic, 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 He held over the water, let go, and it drowned. Ariel said, "Master, now that you are going away, we will no longer be your servants, so you should give us our freedom." And Caliban said, "Yes, master, now that you are going away, we are no longer your servants, so you should give us our freedom." And Prospero did. They danced and laughed on their island. It was theirs once again, and they were free.